Think the 1960s were all about roaring muscle cars and luxury cruisers? Think again. Hidden in the shadow of iconic Mustangs and Cadillacs were humble cars that kept people moving on a budget. These underdogs weren't glamorous, but they got the job done. Ready to discover the forgotten, quirky, and downright surprising rides that only the frugal dared to drive? The Fiat 500, affectionately known as the Cinquecento, became a symbol of Italian design and practicality in the late 1950s and 1960s. Launched in 1957, the Fiat 500 was a response to Italy's post-war need for an affordable, efficient car for the masses. At a time when many Italian families could not afford larger, more luxurious vehicles, the Fiat 500 presented a revolutionary solution, a tiny, economical car that combined functionality with an undeniable charm. Designed by Dante Giacosa, the Cinquecento embraced simplicity and became an icon in its own right, capturing hearts across Europe and even gaining a dedicated following in the United States. The Fiat 500's size was its most defining feature. At just 9 feet in length, it was incredibly compact, designed for narrow European streets and the tight alleys of Italy's urban centers. This tiny car could seat 4 passengers in close quarters and provided just enough cargo space to handle essentials, making it ideal for city dwellers who needed a practical, maneuverable vehicle. Its small size allowed drivers to navigate cramped streets and park with ease, all while enjoying one of the most fuel-efficient rides available at the time. Powered by a modest 479 cubic centimeter air-cooled 2-cylinder engine producing around 13 horsepower, the Fiat 500 was not built for speed, but for efficiency, boasting impressive fuel economy for the era. Owners often remarked that it could go forever on a tank, and this low running cost made it especially popular in a time of rising fuel prices. The interior of the Fiat 500 was as minimalistic as its exterior. Inside, it was clear that the car was designed with affordability in mind. Simple materials, basic controls, and few frills. Yet despite its small and sparse cabin, the car's design radiated a sense of fun and freedom. The seats, though small, were surprisingly comfortable, and the open, airy cabin layout made it feel less cramped than one might expect. Its folding fabric sunroof, available on many models, added to its appeal, giving drivers the chance to experience open-air motoring on a budget. As one owner recalled, "It felt like driving a convertible, even if the rest of the car was tiny. It was about enjoying the journey, not just getting there." Beyond its utility, the Fiat 500's design embodied a playful, cheerful spirit that resonated with drivers. Its friendly, rounded shape, bright colors, and large circular headlights gave it an approachable, almost cartoonish charm that people couldn't resist. This distinctive look, combined with the practicality of a small city car, made the Cinquecento more than just a vehicle. It became a lifestyle symbol, representing an era of Italian optimism and ingenuity. It's no surprise that, in time, the Fiat 500 became not just an icon of Italian culture, but a beloved classic around the world. When the Fiat 500 eventually reached the United States, it quickly attracted a fan base. While American roads were filled with large sedans and powerful muscle cars, the Fiat 500 offered something entirely different. A vehicle that was tiny, easy to park, and incredibly economical. Some U.S. drivers saw it as an endearing foreign car that was perfect for city living, while others embraced it as a unique, offbeat choice among the sprawling land yachts of American car culture. Despite its small engine, many American owners found joy in the Fiat 500's simplicity, seeing it as a throwback to a more carefree style of driving. Over the years, the Fiat 500 has gained a kind of cult status. Classic car enthusiasts, urban commuters, and fans of vintage design celebrate the Cinquecento not only for its practicality, but also for its character. The original Fiat 500 went out of production in 1975, but its legacy has lived on, inspiring Fiat to relaunch the model in 2007 with an updated retro-inspired design. This modern Fiat 500 pays homage to its predecessor's iconic style while incorporating contemporary comforts and technology, ensuring that the Cinquecento spirit lives on for a new generation. The Fiat 500, with its humble beginnings, remains a shining example of how a car doesn't need to be fast, powerful, or luxurious to capture the world's attention. It was a car that adapted to its time, providing an affordable, enjoyable solution for city drivers. Decades after its original debut, the Fiat 500 continues to represent a unique blend of functionality, style, and Italian flair, proving that even the smallest cars can leave a lasting impact on automotive history. The Ford Cortina, a British compact car produced by Ford of Britain from 1962 to 1982, became one of the most popular and iconic cars in the UK and beyond. Initially designed as an affordable family car, the Cortina's blend of practicality, reliability, and European styling made it a hit with families, young professionals, and anyone looking for a cost-effective and efficient vehicle. When it made its way to the US market, it found a new audience, attracting buyers who appreciated its simplicity and straightforward design at a time when Americans were beginning to look for smaller, more fuel-efficient cars. The Cortina was introduced at a time when British automakers were focusing on creating compact, utilitarian vehicles that could serve as practical transportation for middle-class families. It quickly gained a reputation for being affordable, easy to maintain, and reliable, qualities that endeared it to owners across Europe. Ford's British subsidiary aimed to create a car that could compete with models like the Morris Minor and the Austin A40, and the Cortina proved to be a worthy contender. It was simple but well-built, with an emphasis on offering great value for the money. What made the Ford Cortina stand out in the US market was its affordability and simplicity. The American car market, known for its larger vehicles, was in the midst of a shift when compact cars began gaining popularity. With rising fuel prices and increasing urbanization, there was a growing demand for smaller, more economical cars, and the Cortina fit this demand perfectly. It was compact but roomy enough for small families, and it offered a straightforward design that was easy to service and repair. Its engine options were modest, with a range of 4-cylinder engines, including a 1.6-liter unit that provided just enough power for city driving without being overly extravagant. The Cortina was never about performance or excitement. It was about delivering reliable, no-frills transportation at an affordable price. In terms of design, the Cortina was a typical example of mid-20th century European compact cars. It had a clean, utilitarian shape with simple lines and a no-nonsense approach to its appearance. The Cortina's compact proportions made it easy to maneuver and park, a huge advantage in crowded cities. Its design wasn't flashy or particularly sporty, but it was pleasing enough to avoid being considered unattractive. In the US, where larger sedans and muscle cars were still the norm, the Cortina was seen as a refreshingly simple and economical alternative. Despite its European roots, it had a universal appeal that resonated with American consumers looking for a practical car without the burden of high operating costs. Inside, the Cortina was functional and straightforward, with a cabin designed to serve the needs of daily drivers. It was spacious for its class, with seating for 4 passengers and a decently sized trunk. The interior wasn't luxurious by any means, but it offered all the essentials, such as basic but comfortable seats, a simple dashboard, and straightforward controls. Many of the models that were sold in the US also featured a radio, and higher trims offered additional features like cloth seats and upgraded upholstery. But overall, the focus remained on affordability and functionality. Drivers appreciated that it didn't have unnecessary features that could raise the cost, just what you needed for everyday use. On the road, the Cortina was easy to drive, with light steering and a smooth ride that was ideal for urban and suburban driving. Its small size made it agile, and its handling was considered decent, if not particularly exciting. Its engine, while not powerful, provided just enough performance to meet the needs of most drivers, and its fuel economy was one of its strongest selling points. The Cortina was seen as an efficient vehicle that was well-suited to the practical needs of American buyers who needed an affordable car that wouldn't break the bank at the gas station. The Cortina's reputation for reliability and low running costs was one of the key reasons it resonated with a broad spectrum of American drivers. The American car market had traditionally been dominated by larger, more expensive vehicles. But in the late 1960s and 1970s, As concerns about gas prices and efficiency began to take hold, more and more buyers sought alternatives. The Cortina was an affordable, dependable choice for those who didn't need a high-performance car, but simply wanted a practical vehicle that could serve their everyday needs. In terms of performance, the Ford Cortina was never going to be a high-performance car, but it had enough oomph to get drivers through city traffic and handle light freeway cruising. The suspension, while not sporty, was tuned for comfort, providing a smooth ride over everyday bumps and potholes. The Opel Cadet, introduced in 1936, was one of the most influential models produced by the German automaker Opel, which was then a subsidiary of General Motors. As the compact car market began to grow in post-war Europe, the Cadet quickly became a symbol of affordable, reliable transportation with a distinctive European touch. When Opel began exporting the Cadet to the United States in the 1960s through Buick dealerships, it offered American consumers an intriguing alternative to the domestic compact cars of the era. Its blend of European design and affordability attracted buyers looking for a car that offered both practicality and a bit of flair. The Cadet's initial appeal came from its size and practicality. As a compact car, it provided the right balance between a spacious interior and a small footprint that made it ideal for tight city streets and suburban roads. For buyers in the United States, where large sedans and muscle cars dominated the roads, the Cadet represented something different, a compact, fuel-efficient vehicle with the efficiency and simplicity that was becoming increasingly desirable during the 1960s. The car was powered by a small 1.0-liter, four-cylinder engine that was designed for good fuel economy, making it an attractive choice for buyers looking to reduce their daily running costs. With an emphasis on practicality, the Cadet wasn't a powerhouse. It was more about offering a no-nonsense driving experience that got you from point A to point B without unnecessary frills. While the Cadet's engine wasn't particularly powerful, its handling and overall performance were considered top-notch for its size. The car's compact dimensions made it easy to maneuver in urban environments, while the European engineering made it feel more refined than many of the American compact cars on the market at the time. The suspension system, derived from European models, offered a smoother ride compared to the rougher handling of some US counterparts. Buyers appreciated the Cadet's precise steering and well-engineered ride, which made it an excellent choice for those who wanted a fun-to-drive vehicle that didn't sacrifice practicality. The interior of the Opel Cadet was simple but functional, reflecting the car's focus on affordability. The cabin offered seating for 4 passengers, but the space was tight, typical of compact cars of the era. The dashboard was basic but well-organized with a minimalist design that emphasized easy-to-use controls. It wasn't a luxury car by any means, but it provided the kind of utilitarian interior that suited its target audience. The quality of the materials used was standard for economy cars, and the fit and finish were solid, in line with Opel's reputation for building durable vehicles. Despite the compact size, the Cadet's trunk space was adequate for a small family or a few bags of groceries, adding to the vehicle's everyday practicality. One of the reasons the Opel Cadet stood out was its European styling, which had a distinctive edge over its American competitors. It featured a clean, boxy design with sharp lines that reflected the design sensibilities of post-war Europe. Unlike many American cars of the time, which were often heavy, bulky, and focused on brawn, the Cadet presented a more refined, agile look. Its low stance, narrow body, and simple grille gave it a European elegance, which contrasted nicely with the larger, more robust designs coming out of Detroit. This European flair was one of the major selling points for US buyers who wanted something different from the cookie-cutter designs of the time. In the US, the Opel Cadet was marketed as an affordable, no-nonsense vehicle that offered a European driving experience at a budget price. Its European charm, combined with its affordability and solid engineering, helped it gain a following among young buyers, especially those looking for a compact car that didn't look like every other car on the road. Buick dealerships, in particular, promoted the Cadet as an alternative to the more utilitarian American compacts like the Chevrolet Corvair or the Ford Falcon, emphasizing its stylish design and more refined ride. For many, the Opel Cadet was an entry point into the world of European cars, offering an affordable way to experience something a bit more sophisticated than the typical American models. While the Cadet was never as widely recognized in the US as some of its competitors, its importation by GM was an important moment in American automotive history, marking one of the first major efforts by a US automaker to offer a European compact car on American soil. The Cadet wasn't just a vehicle, it was a cultural ambassador showcasing the differences in European automotive design and engineering. The Opel Cadet went through several generations during its production run, continuously evolving in response to changing consumer tastes and technological advancements. The Datsun 510, produced by Nissan under the Datsun brand from 1968 to 1973, quickly became one of the most beloved and iconic compact sedans of its era. Known for its affordability, reliability, and impressive fuel efficiency, the Datsun 510 carved out a special place in automotive history, particularly in the United States, where it offered a refreshing alternative to the larger, less efficient American sedans and the sometimes higher-priced European imports. When the Datsun 510 made its US debut in the late 1960s, it was part of a broader trend toward compact cars that emphasized practicality and fuel economy. At a time when gas prices were rising and the American market was starting to shift away from large, gas-guzzling vehicles, the Datsun 510 stood out as a small, efficient, and highly affordable option. It was designed to cater to budget-conscious buyers who were looking for a car that could serve as a daily driver, offering low operating costs and a no-nonsense approach to transportation. One of the key features of the Datsun 510 that helped it gain traction was its compact size. The car was smaller and lighter than many of the American sedans of the time, making it ideal for urban environments where parking was tight and the streets were crowded. Its small footprint also contributed to its nimble handling, allowing it to navigate narrow city roads and tight corners with ease. Despite its compact size, the 510 provided enough interior space for a small family or a few friends, with comfortable seating and a reasonably sized trunk for carrying everyday cargo. In terms of design, the Datsun 510 was unpretentious yet stylish, with a simple and clean aesthetic that made it appealing to a wide range of consumers. It had a straightforward, boxy shape with a sloping front end and a clean, unadorned grille. The design wasn't flashy or overly aggressive, but it was practical and attractive in its own understated way. Unlike some of its competitors, which featured overly fussy styling or unusual features, the 510's look was timeless in its simplicity, and it didn't attempt to be something it wasn't. It was a modest car that focused on offering solid performance and practicality rather than showy design. Under the hood, the Datsun 510 was powered by a small, efficient four-cylinder engine, typically a 1.6-liter unit, which delivered enough power to get around without being overly extravagant. The engine was paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, although automatic options were available on later models. While it wasn't a powerhouse, the engine provided just enough performance for everyday driving, and its fuel efficiency made it an appealing option for those looking to keep their operating costs low. The car's small engine and light weight helped it achieve excellent gas mileage, a major selling point in an era when rising fuel costs were starting to change consumer habits. The Datsun 510 also earned a reputation for being incredibly reliable, a trait that helped it stand out among other compact cars of the era. Japanese automakers like Nissan had a reputation for building cars that were tough and durable, and the 510 was no exception. It was built to withstand the rigors of daily use, and owners found that it required relatively little maintenance compared to some other vehicles on the market. This reputation for reliability was a major factor in its popularity, as buyers wanted a car that they could depend on without constantly worrying about mechanical issues. Another aspect of the Datsun 510 that earned it praise was its handling. Thanks to its well-engineered suspension system, the 510 was a joy to drive, offering a smooth and composed ride, even on rough roads. It was praised for its responsive steering and its ability to corner well, which made it a fun car to drive despite its relatively humble power output. This characteristic helped it gain a cult following among enthusiasts, particularly those who enjoyed the car's balanced handling and nimble performance. In fact, the 510 became popular in motorsports, with many drivers taking it to the track or using it for rally racing, further cementing its reputation as a capable and fun-to-drive car. Inside, the Datsun 510's cabin was simple but functional, offering basic features that were practical for everyday use. The dashboard was straightforward, with easy-to-read gauges and controls, and the seats were designed for comfort without unnecessary frills. It wasn't a luxury vehicle by any means, but it provided everything the average driver needed for a comfortable ride. Its low cost didn't mean sacrificing the essentials. The car had a reputation for being well-built, and the materials used in the interior, while not luxurious, were durable and able to stand the test of time. In terms of performance, the Datsun 510 wasn't a sports car, but it certainly punched above its weight when it came to handling and driving enjoyment. The Austin Mini, an icon of British automotive design, was introduced in 1959 by the British Motor Corporation, BMC. What began as a revolutionary compact car soon became a symbol of British culture, thanks to its tiny size, exceptional fuel efficiency, and quirky design. Designed to be a small, affordable car that could make the most of limited space, the Mini became one of the most successful and beloved vehicles of its time, both in the UK and globally. The primary goal behind the creation of the Austin Mini was to provide affordable transportation for the everyday person. At a time when post-war Britain was recovering from economic hardships, the need for an efficient and economical car was urgent. The Mini's compact dimensions, under 10 feet long, made it perfect for crowded city streets where parking was scarce and space was at a premium. But despite its small size, the car was deceptively spacious inside. By adopting a front-wheel drive layout and moving the engine to the front of the car, BMC maximized the interior space, offering seating for 4 adults, which was remarkable for such a tiny vehicle. One of the most striking features of the Mini was its design. The car was quirky and charming, with a distinctive round body shape and a front end that seemed to smile at you. Its compact proportions and short overhangs gave it a playful and energetic appearance. Though it was far from luxurious, the Mini's personality was part of its appeal. Its design was practical, making it easy to maneuver, park, and navigate tight corners, but also full of character. Over the years, it would become as iconic for its appearance as it was for its engineering, often appearing in films and advertisements as a symbol of fun, youth, and freedom. Despite its small size, the Austin Mini provided an unexpected amount of space inside. The innovative design utilized the available space more efficiently than many larger cars of the time. With its high roofline and clever use of interior space, it comfortably accommodated passengers and luggage. The rear seats were surprisingly roomy, and the trunk, while small, was designed to maximize the space available. This made the Mini an excellent choice for city dwellers who needed a car that could be both practical and affordable. Its compact size also meant it was ideal for young families or individuals who didn't need a large vehicle, but wanted something that could still fit a few people in their gear. Under the hood, the Mini was powered by a modest 848 cubic centimeter, 4-cylinder engine, which produced just around 34 horsepower. This small engine made the car incredibly fuel efficient, with some models achieving up to 40 miles per gallon. While the engine wasn't powerful by any means, the Mini's small size and lightweight design made it more than capable of keeping up with traffic. The car's agility and nimbleness were part of its appeal, as it was easy to maneuver through narrow streets, park in tight spaces, and zip around corners. It was a practical car for the everyday driver, designed to get you from point A to point B with minimal fuss and expense. Another key selling point of the Austin Mini was its affordability. It was one of the most economical cars on the market at the time, making it accessible to a wide range of buyers, from young people just starting out to older individuals looking for a practical second car. The low cost of the Mini made it an attractive option for those who didn't have much money to spend, but still needed a reliable form of transportation. It wasn't just a car for the rich or the elite. It was a car for the everyday person, a vehicle that could be enjoyed by anyone, regardless of their budget. The Mini's handling was one of its standout features. Thanks to its low weight, short wheelbase, and front-wheel drive configuration, the car offered a fun and responsive driving experience. It was incredibly nimble, able to navigate city streets with ease, and had a surprisingly tight turning radius, making it ideal for urban driving. The car's suspension system, while basic, provided a smooth enough ride, and its small size made it feel more like an extension of the driver's body than a car. It became popular in motorsports for its performance on tight, twisty courses, where its handling shone. The car was quick off the line, and its ability to hold the road in corners made it a favorite for enthusiasts who appreciated the thrill of driving. Inside, the Austin Mini was simple but functional. The dashboard was minimalistic, with large, easy-to-read dials and a straightforward layout. There weren't many frills, but everything was designed to be practical and easy to use. The seats were firm but comfortable, and the interior trim was basic, but it served its purpose. The small size of the car meant that there wasn't much room for excess, but the interior was cleverly designed to make the most of what was available. The Ford Fairlane, first introduced in 1955, underwent several transformations throughout its production run, becoming one of Ford's most popular and versatile models. While the Fairlane began as a full-size sedan, it would evolve significantly over the years, particularly during the 1960s, when Ford downsized it to appeal to a broader range of buyers. This strategic shift made the Fairlane a more affordable, practical option for those who wanted an American-made car but didn't need the massive size or premium pricing associated with full-size sedans. In its early years, the Ford Fairlane was positioned as a mid-range model that offered a balance between luxury and affordability. It was introduced at a time when the full-size car market in the United States was booming, with families and individuals seeking spacious vehicles with plenty of room for passengers and cargo. The Fairlane initially fit that bill, offering a stylish, roomy sedan that was equipped with a variety of features to appeal to the middle class. However, as the American automotive landscape began to shift in the 1960s, driven in part by rising fuel prices and the changing tastes of consumers, Ford made the decision to downsize the Fairlane. By the mid-1960s, the Fairlane's size was reduced to become a more compact and affordable vehicle, a reflection of the growing demand for smaller, more fuel-efficient cars. The Fairlane became an entry-level sedan, offering many of the features of larger cars but in a more manageable and economical package. This change in direction made the Fairlane a more appealing option for families and individuals who still wanted the comfort and convenience of an American-made vehicle, but without the higher price tag and fuel consumption associated with larger models. Despite the downsizing, the Ford Fairlane maintained a strong presence on the market, particularly among buyers looking for a no-frills, reliable sedan. It was marketed as a car that could deliver the practicality and simplicity of a full-size sedan without the excesses of luxury models. Its affordability, combined with Ford's reputation for durability and reliability, made it an attractive choice for many buyers. The Fairlane's design, especially in the 1960s, was straightforward and unpretentious. While it was never a particularly flashy car, its clean lines and simple aesthetic gave it a classic American look. The car's body was relatively boxy, with a straightforward front end, making it a typical example of the era's automotive styling. Though it wasn't the most exciting car on the road, it had a charm in its simplicity, and its solid construction made it a vehicle that could stand the test of time. In terms of performance, the Fairlane's engine options were varied, depending on the model year and trim level. The base models came with smaller, more economical engines, which suited the needs of budget-conscious buyers. However, for those who wanted a little more power, Ford also offered larger engines, including V8 options, which gave the Fairlane a degree of performance capability that appealed to those who enjoyed a little extra horsepower. These higher performance models, such as the Fairlane 500, became particularly popular among car enthusiasts who appreciated the Fairlane's ability to balance performance and practicality. One of the Fairlane's standout features was its interior space. Even as the car was downsized, Ford managed to keep the cabin comfortable and roomy, with seating for 5 passengers and a generous trunk space. While the interior was basic, with simple cloth upholstery and minimal ornamentation, it offered a comfortable environment for both short trips and longer journeys. The Fairlane's straightforward dashboard layout was easy to navigate, with large, easy-to-read gauges and intuitive controls. Buyers appreciated the simplicity and no-nonsense design of the cabin, which made it an ideal family car or commuter vehicle. Despite its initial success as a full-size sedan, the Fairlane truly found its niche after its downsizing in the 1960s. It became a go-to option for buyers who wanted an affordable, American-made sedan that was reliable, easy to maintain, and offered decent performance without the high price tag of premium models. The downsized Fairlane was the perfect fit for many middle-class families and young drivers who valued practicality over flash. One of the most notable versions of the Fairlane was the 1966 Fairlane, which introduced more modern styling and featured updated trim options. This model reflected the era's trend toward more streamlined and angular body designs, but it remained true to the Fairlane's core values of simplicity and affordability. The 1966 Fairlane was equipped with more powerful engine options, including V8 variants, which gave it a solid performance edge while still maintaining its reputation for being budget-friendly. The Chevrolet Biscan, introduced in 1958, was designed to be a no-frills, entry-level full-size car that offered basic transportation without the added luxury and features of its more upscale siblings, such as the Bel Air and Impala. Positioned as Chevrolet's least expensive full-size sedan, the Biscan provided a straightforward utilitarian option for buyers who were looking for a larger car on a budget. At the time, full-size cars were the standard for American families, and the Biscan was Chevrolet's answer to the growing demand for affordable but spacious vehicles. The Biscan was marketed as a basic, practical choice for those who wanted the benefits of a full-size sedan, but without the luxury features that were typically offered on more expensive models. As such, it lacked the chrome accents, plush interiors, and extra trim levels found in the Bel Air and Impala, but it still offered the room and comfort associated with larger cars. One of the most notable features of the Biscan was its simplicity. The car's exterior was plain, with a straightforward design and minimal ornamentation, while the Bel Air and Impala models had more elaborate grilles, trim, and chrome details. The Biscan had a more restrained, utilitarian look. The body was boxy and no-nonsense, with flat sides and a basic wide stance. This simplicity gave the Biscan a no-frills appearance, but also helped it achieve a lower price point. Inside, the Biscan's interior reflected its entry-level status. The materials used were basic, with vinyl upholstery and minimal trim. The dashboard was simple, featuring large, easy-to-read gauges and basic controls. While the interior wasn't luxurious, it was functional and spacious. With seating for 6 passengers, the Biscan offered a roomy cabin that could comfortably accommodate families or groups. The lack of optional features or fancy finishes meant that there was more focus on providing essential comfort and a smooth ride rather than luxury amenities. In terms of performance, the Biscan offered a range of engine options, though these were also more basic compared to the more expensive models in Chevrolet's lineup. The base engine was a straightforward inline-6, offering reliable but modest power for everyday driving. For those who wanted more performance, there were V8 options available, which provided a bit more horsepower and improved acceleration. However, unlike the Impala or Bel Air, the Biscan was not available with the high-performance engines or sporty options that made those models more popular with performance enthusiasts. The Biscan's engine lineup was more about providing reliable power rather than outright speed. Despite its simpler design and more modest features, the Biscan was still a capable and durable car. It was built with Chevrolet's reputation for reliability, and many owners appreciated its practicality and ease of maintenance. It wasn't flashy or extravagant, but it was a dependable and affordable option for families and individuals who needed a large car for everyday use. The Biscan's lack of extra features meant that it was cheaper to maintain and repair compared to the higher-end models, which made it an appealing choice for buyers who were on a tight budget but still wanted the benefits of a full-size sedan. In the 1960s, the Biscan continued to be Chevrolet's entry-level full-size car. It remained popular among buyers who prioritized affordability and practicality over luxury. While it lacked the flashy trim and styling of the Bel Air and Impala, the Biscan's simplicity made it a strong contender in the full-size sedan market. Its roomy interior, straightforward design, and low cost made it a popular choice for families who needed a larger car, but couldn't justify the extra cost of the more upscale models. Throughout its production run, the Biscan never aimed to be a luxury car or a performance vehicle. Instead, it focused on providing basic transportation at an affordable price. It was reliable, roomy, and simple, which made it appealing to a wide variety of buyers. As a result, the Biscan was a success in its own right, with many owners appreciating its straightforward approach to car design. However, the Biscan was eventually phased out in the mid-1970s as Chevrolet shifted its focus towards smaller, more fuel-efficient vehicles. The full-size car market was beginning to decline, and the Biscan's simple, utilitarian design was no longer as in demand as it once was. Nonetheless, the Biscan had left its mark as an affordable, practical option for American buyers in the 1960s and 1970s. Today, the Chevrolet Biscan is a classic example of the no-nonsense entry-level full-size cars that were common in the post-war era. It represents an era when American families flocked to large sedans for their reliability, space, and affordability. The AMC Ambassador, produced by the American Motors Corporation, AMC, from the late 1950s through the 1970s, was a full-size sedan that stood out in a crowded market dominated by the big three automakers, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. Unlike many of its competitors, the Ambassador was positioned as an affordable yet spacious alternative for families who required a larger vehicle but couldn't justify the higher price tags of full-size sedans from the more established American automakers. Introduced in 1958, the Ambassador was AMC's flagship sedan, meant to compete with popular models like the Chevrolet Impala, Ford Galaxy, and Chrysler Newport. The Ambassador was designed with practicality in mind, offering generous interior space and a wide range of trim levels to meet the needs of various buyers. Its spacious interior made it particularly appealing to larger families who needed room for both passengers and cargo, but didn't want to spend the premium prices that came with other full-size sedans. While the Ambassador was a full-size car, it didn't carry the high-end features or luxury appointments that were often found in more expensive sedans. AMC's approach was to offer a roomy and economical vehicle with a solid array of features, but without the added frills that would drive up the price. This made the Ambassador an ideal choice for budget-conscious buyers who still wanted the comfort and convenience of a larger sedan. The Ambassador's trim levels varied, with base models being more stripped down and high-end versions offering more luxury features, including leather upholstery, power windows, and upgraded audio systems. One of the key selling points of the Ambassador was its spaciousness. The car offered ample seating for 6 passengers, making it an excellent choice for larger families or those who needed extra room for passengers and their belongings. The large trunk also provided plenty of cargo space, making it practical for road trips or transporting larger items. The interior was designed for comfort, with generous legroom and headroom, ensuring that even taller passengers could enjoy a comfortable ride. Under the hood, the Ambassador offered a range of engine options, typically including inline-6 and V8 engines. The base model often came with the more economical 6-cylinder engine, which provided decent performance for daily driving while keeping fuel costs down. For buyers who wanted more power, there were V8 options available that offered improved acceleration and highway cruising ability. The V8 engines were particularly popular for those who wanted a bit more performance from their full-size sedan. The Ambassador's design was fairly traditional, with a clean, classic American sedan look. Its body was long and broad, with sharp lines and a stately presence on the road. The front end featured large headlights and a grille that gave the car a bold, confident look. While it didn't have the flair or chrome-heavy styling of some of the more luxurious models from GM or Ford, the Ambassador's simple, straightforward design was well-suited to its purpose as an affordable family sedan. In terms of handling, the Ambassador was often seen as competent, but not particularly sporty. The car was built for comfort, with a suspension system designed to absorb bumps and provide a smooth ride, especially on long trips. Its larger size and softer suspension did result in some body roll-around corners, but the car's handling was generally more than adequate for the needs of most drivers. It was a vehicle built for cruising on highways and taking on family vacations, rather than for sharp turns or aggressive driving. The AMC Ambassador also made a name for itself as a car that was relatively easy to maintain and repair. AMC's reputation for building solid, dependable vehicles meant that the Ambassador was often seen as a practical, low-maintenance option. Many owners appreciated the fact that it was less likely to require costly repairs compared to the full-size cars from the Big Three, which often had more complex systems and more expensive parts. Despite its practical appeal, the Ambassador had a relatively short production run in terms of popularity. As the 1960s progressed, American consumers began to shift towards smaller, more fuel-efficient cars, and the demand for full-size sedans like the Ambassador began to decline. In addition, AMC was never able to match the level of marketing power or brand recognition that Ford, Chevy, and Chrysler enjoyed, which meant that the Ambassador often struggled to compete in a market dominated by those giants. Despite these challenges, the Ambassador retained a loyal following among those who valued its practicality and affordability. Its relatively low production numbers also gave it a unique position as a somewhat rare and distinctive car, often associated with those who appreciated its utilitarian design and budget-friendly nature. The Simka 1000, introduced in 1961 by the French automaker Simka, was a compact rear-engine car that brought a unique European flair to the U.S. economy car market. Chrysler, which held a significant stake in Simka, began importing the car to the United States in the early 1960s, making it one of the few French cars available to American buyers at the time. The Simka 1000 stood out for its small size, economical nature, and distinctive rear-engine layout, attracting budget-conscious consumers who wanted something different from the standard American compact. The Simka 1000 was designed with urban driving in mind, with a compact body that made it easy to maneuver through tight city streets and narrow European-style roads. Measuring only about 12 feet long, the car was notably small compared to American compacts of the time. Its tiny dimensions and rear-mounted engine gave it a unique handling experience that was more commonly associated with European cars like the Renault Dauphine and Volkswagen Beetle. This design choice helped to maximize interior space, allowing for a relatively roomy cabin within a small footprint. With a 944 cubic centimeter engine initially producing around 35 horsepower, the Simka 1000 was not a powerhouse, but it was adequate for the car's lightweight design. Its rear-engine configuration provided decent traction, especially in wet or slippery conditions, and gave the car a quirky, responsive feel behind the wheel. For drivers who were used to large, front-engine American sedans, the Simka 1000's handling was a novelty, if not always practical for the fast-paced highways in the U.S. However, for city dwellers and those with modest commuting needs, it offered a surprisingly capable ride. Inside, the Simka 1000 featured a basic but functional layout. The interior was simple, with vinyl upholstery and minimalist controls, keeping with its economy focus. While it lacked the plush features of more luxurious American models, the Simka 1000 offered ample headroom and decent legroom for a small car. The rear-mounted engine allowed for more cabin space, and the car could seat 4 passengers comfortably, making it a practical choice for small families or couples on a budget. The dashboard was straightforward, with a few gauges and essential controls that underscored its economical approach. Fuel economy was one of the Simka 1000's strong points, as it offered mileage that was significantly better than most American cars of the time. This was particularly appealing during the fuel-conscious years of the late 1960s and early 1970s, when rising fuel prices and the oil crisis began to impact American consumers. Its efficient engine and lightweight made the Simka 1000 a cost-effective option for drivers who needed to stretch their fuel dollars. In the U.S., however, the Simka 1000 faced several challenges. While its European styling and economy-focused design were appealing to some, American buyers generally favored larger vehicles with more power and comfort features. Additionally, the Simka's rear-engine layout and modest horsepower limited its appeal on American highways, where higher speeds and long-distance driving were common. The car's top speed was underwhelming, and it lacked the robust acceleration that Americans were accustomed to, making it less practical for open-road driving. Its small engine struggled to keep up at highway speeds, which was a significant drawback in a country where long-distance travel by car was the norm. Maintenance and parts availability were also issues. As a French import, the Simka 1000 was not as easy to service as domestic cars, and parts could be challenging to find in the US. Mechanics familiar with rear-engine layouts were also less common, adding to the car's service difficulties. Rust was another problem, especially in northern climates where road salt could quickly corrode the Simca's body panels. Despite these drawbacks, the Simka 1000 developed a niche following among those who appreciated its unique European design and affordable price. For budget-conscious buyers who primarily drove in urban areas, it offered a reliable and fuel-efficient alternative to the American cars of the time. Its distinctive look, with rounded headlights, a boxy profile, and simple lines, gave it a charm that endeared it to some buyers. In Europe, the Simka 1000 had a longer and more successful life, with multiple variants and upgrades, including sportier models and special editions. However, in the US, its popularity remained limited, and it never achieved the same iconic status as European imports like the Volkswagen Beetle. By the early 1970s, changing tastes and increasing competition from other compact and subcompact models, both domestic and foreign, led to the Simka 1000's eventual decline in the American market. The Hillman Imp, introduced by the British Roots Group in 1963, was a compact rear-engine car that aimed to offer an affordable and practical option for city drivers. It was a notable attempt by a British automaker to compete with popular small cars like the Mini and the Volkswagen Beetle, but its unique design and quirks made it stand out in its own right. The Imp was marketed as an economy car with a distinct personality, attracting drivers who prioritized efficiency and affordability over luxury and high-end features. Built with city driving in mind, the Hillman Imp was compact and maneuverable, making it easy to navigate crowded urban streets. Its small size and lightweight allowed for nimble handling, while its rear-engine layout provided decent traction. At just over 11 feet long, the Imp was one of the smallest cars on the road, making it ideal for parking in tight spaces and zipping through traffic. Despite its small dimensions, it was cleverly designed to maximize interior space, offering comfortable seating for 4 passengers. The Imp's rear-mounted engine was an aluminum 875 cubic centimeter inline-4 that produced around 39 horsepower. Although modest by today's standards, the engine was efficient and helped the Imp achieve good fuel economy, making it a cost-effective choice for drivers looking to minimize fuel expenses. The engine was originally derived from Coventry Climax racing engines, giving the Imp a bit of sporty flair. However, its low horsepower meant that the car's performance was more suited to leisurely city driving than high-speed highways, where it could struggle to keep pace. One of the Imp's notable design features was its hatchback configuration, which was rare for British cars at the time. This layout gave the Imp a versatile cargo area, allowing owners to fold down the rear seats for extra storage space, ideal for carrying groceries or small items. This made it an appealing option for young families and urban dwellers who needed a practical vehicle without investing in a larger, more expensive car. Inside, the Hillman Imp was Spartan but functional. It featured a basic dashboard layout with minimal gauges and controls, keeping with its economy-focused design. The materials were simple and durable, though not luxurious. While it lacked the plush feel of higher-end models, the Imp's interior was comfortable enough for short trips and daily commuting. Its upright seating position provided good visibility, which was a plus for navigating busy streets. The Imp's rear-engine design contributed to its unique handling characteristics. Like the Volkswagen Beetle, the weight over the rear wheels provided excellent traction, especially in wet or slippery conditions. However, the layout also led to a tendency for oversteer, which could make the car challenging to handle at high speeds or on sharp corners. Drivers had to get used to the car's quirky handling, which was a learning curve for those more accustomed to front-engine, front-wheel drive vehicles. However, the Hillman Imp wasn't without its drawbacks. The car was initially rushed into production, leading to quality control issues that plagued early models. Problems with the engine cooling system and frequent overheating frustrated many owners, and repairs could be time-consuming and costly. These issues hurt the Imp's reputation, and despite improvements in later versions, it never fully recovered in terms of public perception. The Imp also suffered from being more difficult to maintain than simpler front-engine cars, with parts that were sometimes challenging to source. In the US, when the Hillman Imp was a rare sight, as its primary market was the United Kingdom. However, it did attract a small following among American drivers who appreciated its European style and low running costs. The Imp's affordability and efficiency made it an interesting choice for buyers who wanted a budget-friendly import with a bit of personality. But compared to more popular small cars like the Beetle and the Mini, the Imp's quirks and mechanical issues limited its appeal. The Imp had its enthusiasts, though. In the UK, it developed a reputation as a fun, economical car with a bit of character. It even saw success in motorsports, particularly in rally racing, where its lightweight and nimble handling made it surprisingly competitive in certain events. For fans of classic British cars, the Hillman Imp is still fondly remembered as a distinctive, if flawed, example of post-war British engineering. Production of the Imp continued until 1976, but it never achieved the iconic status of its main rivals. Ultimately, the Imp is remembered as an ambitious but imperfect attempt to capture the economy car market. Its unique rear-engine design, compact size, and quirky handling make it a memorable part of automotive history and a nostalgic symbol for fans of vintage British imports. The Studebaker Commander was a mainstay for Studebaker, an American automaker known for its innovative spirit and long history as one of the last independent car manufacturers. First introduced in 1927, the Commander evolved over decades, offering a range of styles and features as Studebaker adapted to shifting consumer preferences. By the 1950s and early 1960s, the Commander had become an affordable, full-size car with a straightforward design aimed at budget-conscious buyers. It was the everyman's car, providing reliable transportation without the frills, catering to a market segment that valued simplicity, practicality, and affordability. Studebaker positioned the Commander as an economical choice, balancing value and quality while trying to remain competitive in an era dominated by the big three automakers, Ford, GM, and Chrysler. While the big three offered an extensive range of models and options, Studebaker took a different approach, keeping its lineup streamlined and focusing on core models like the Commander, which could be offered at a lower price point. This made the Commander an attractive option for buyers who wanted a full-size American car, but didn't want to pay a premium for more luxurious options. The Commander had a straightforward yet elegant design, marked by clean lines and minimal ornamentation. In its early years, the Commander featured a conservative look that would later give way to more modern styling cues. By the early 1950s, Studebaker hired famed industrial designer Raymond Loewy, who introduced sleek, streamlined touches that gave the Commander a distinctive look. The 1953-54 Commanders, with their low-slung profile and wraparound windshields, are particularly celebrated among vintage car enthusiasts for their styling, which stood out in a market filled with more boxy, traditional designs. Under the hood, the Commander offered a variety of engines over the years, with V8 options introduced in the early 1950s to keep up with the industry trend towards more powerful vehicles. The 1951 model featured a new 232 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering respectable power for the time. This move made the Commander more competitive against larger automakers who were heavily promoting V8 engines. The Commander wasn't the fastest car on the road, but its V8 offered solid performance for everyday driving, allowing it to keep pace with rivals. Studebaker focused on efficiency and reliability over sheer power, which suited many buyers who prioritize fuel economy and low maintenance costs. Inside, the Commander was comfortable but unpretentious. Its interior design was practical, with durable materials and a functional layout. The car offered adequate space for families, and its bench seats were roomy enough for multiple passengers. Studebaker kept the interior straightforward, with easy-to-read gauges, simple controls, and a focus on utility rather than luxury. Some models offered optional upgrades, including power steering and power brakes, which were considered premium features at the time, but were available at an affordable price point in the Commander lineup. However, Studebaker faced increasing challenges in the 1950s and 1960s as larger automakers ramped up production and marketing efforts. The big three could afford to offer more variety, invest in new technologies, and continually refresh their lineups. Studebaker, as an independent, lacked the resources to keep up with such competition, which eventually impacted the Commander's appeal. Despite offering a solid, reliable car, Studebaker struggled with high production costs and limited economies of scale, making it difficult to compete on price and innovation. While the Commander was generally reliable, quality control issues did arise as Studebaker's financial struggles deepened. Production moved to Studebaker's South Bend, Indiana plant, where budget cuts sometimes led to inconsistencies in build quality. Some Commanders developed a reputation for minor mechanical issues, and Studebaker's limited dealer network could make it challenging for owners to find service and parts. These challenges, combined with a more conservative approach to design in the later years, led the Commander to struggle against competitors with fresher, more modern designs. In its final years, the Commander's design began to feel dated compared to offerings from Ford, Chevrolet, and Plymouth. Despite efforts to keep it relevant, Studebaker's shrinking resources meant fewer updates, and buyers looking for modern styling and amenities often found better options elsewhere. Studebaker ceased U.S. production in 1963 and moved remaining operations to Canada, where the Commander continued until the brand's closure in 1966. Today, the Studebaker Commander is remembered as a classic piece of Americana, embodying the spirit of an independent automaker, trying to carve out a niche in a fiercely competitive industry. The Buick Special was Buick's longest-running model line, introduced in the 1930s and aimed squarely at those looking for a more refined car at an affordable price. As Buick's entry-level offering, the Special embodied the brand's dedication to style, comfort, and reliability, making it accessible to working-class buyers who aspired to own a vehicle from a brand associated with upscale quality. It filled an essential niche in the automotive market, offering a taste of luxury without the high price tag associated with Buick's premium models, like the Roadmaster or the Electra. Throughout the years, the Buick Special featured design and engineering updates that kept it appealing to buyers seeking value. By the 1950s, it became known for its classic, sweeping lines, chrome accents, and venti ports, the iconic porthole accents along the fenders. These signature Buick touches gave the Special an air of distinction, setting it apart from the plainer, entry-level models offered by Chevrolet or Ford. The model's design was elegant but not overstated, with just the right balance of style and practicality. The Special also offered a surprisingly comfortable interior for an entry-level model, with spacious seating, a large trunk, and upscale touches like a well-organized dash, stylish two-tone upholstery, and Buick's trademark sweep spear side trim, a chrome accent that added a sleek line down the body. Buick designed the Special to provide passengers with a pleasant driving experience, paying careful attention to ergonomics and comfort. The interior was functional but didn't feel stripped down, appealing to families and young professionals who valued quality but didn't need the full luxury package. Under the hood, the Special came with reliable engines that, while not the most powerful, were more than adequate for everyday driving. By the late 1950s, Buick equipped many Special models with the brand's Nailhead V8 engine, which provided solid performance and longevity. The Nailhead was known for its high torque at low RPMs, making it a strong choice for a heavy, full-size sedan. This engine, paired with Buick's Dynaflow automatic transmission, gave the Special a smooth ride and effortless acceleration, a feature Buick was known for and one that helped attract buyers who appreciated a refined, quiet ride. Buick also innovated with the Special in the early 1960s by introducing the first V6 engine in an American passenger car. This move was notable because it gave Buick a reputation as a forward-thinking brand that could offer strong, fuel-efficient engines in an entry-level car. The V6 option made the Special economical for the era, appealing to buyers who were looking to balance performance with fuel savings. This innovation showed Buick's commitment to staying competitive and relevant, especially as American drivers became more conscious of operating costs. The Special's versatility was another strong selling point. Buick offered a variety of body styles over the years, from sedans and coupes to convertibles and station wagons, allowing it to appeal to different customer needs. Families could opt for the spacious station wagon version, while younger buyers or couples might choose the coupe or convertible. This flexibility in the lineup helped the Special maintain its popularity and expand its reach to a wider audience. Despite its many strengths, the Buick Special did face some limitations. Because it was an entry-level model, the Special lacked some of the luxury features found in Buick's higher-end cars. The suspension, while decent, was not as refined as that in the brand's more expensive models, and the materials, though good for a budget car, weren't as upscale as the premium Buicks. While the Special was built with quality, it occasionally suffered from minor mechanical issues that reflected its status as a budget-friendly vehicle. Some owners reported problems with parts that wore out more quickly than expected, and the car's weight could make handling feel a bit sluggish. Still, the Buick Special maintained its reputation as a reliable and classy car. Its affordable price point and connection to the Buick name attracted buyers who may have otherwise gone with a standard Chevrolet or Ford. Driving a Buick gave owners a sense of status, and the Special provided that experience without the cost of higher-end models. This affordability, combined with Buick's reputation for quality, helped the Special retain a loyal following even as automotive trends shifted. In the 1960s, Buick reimagined the Special once again as a mid-size car, aligning with growing trends towards smaller, more efficient vehicles. The updated Special became the foundation for the Buick Skylark, a model that went on to enjoy its own success and recognition. The Renault 4, affectionately known as the R4, was one of France's most iconic and enduring cars, introduced in 1961 and remaining in production for over 3 decades. It was designed as a simple, affordable workhorse that could meet the diverse needs of drivers in both urban and rural environments. Renault's goal with the R4 was to create an inexpensive yet versatile vehicle that could handle a wide range of tasks, from commuting to farm work. This practicality, combined with its low price and rugged design, made it a beloved car across Europe and other regions where reliability and cost were key priorities. The Renault 4's design was functional and unpretentious. It featured a boxy shape with a high roofline and flat, straightforward lines that maximized interior space while keeping manufacturing costs low. Unlike many cars of the era, the R4 was a 5-door hatchback with a tailgate that opened wide, providing easy access to the rear cargo area. This design allowed owners to use it as both a passenger car and a small delivery vehicle, which was particularly appealing for small business owners and farmers. The R4's Spartan design embodied the French concept of la voiture à vivre, a car for living, as it was intended to integrate seamlessly into everyday life. The interior of the Renault 4 was minimalistic, with simple functional controls and straightforward materials. The seats were designed for durability rather than luxury, and the dashboard had only the essentials, which made it easy to maintain and affordable to repair. This simplicity was a selling point for the R4, as it was marketed as a car for people who valued practicality over extravagance. The straightforward cabin layout also contributed to the car's spaciousness, making it surprisingly roomy for a small car and comfortable enough for 4 passengers. Under the hood, the Renault 4 came with a modest engine, usually a small inline-4 producing around 30 to 45 horsepower, depending on the model year. While this might seem underpowered by today's standards, the lightweight design and efficient engine made the R4 quite capable on city streets and rural roads alike. The suspension was soft and forgiving, which provided a surprisingly comfortable ride on rough roads, a significant advantage in rural areas. Despite its small size, the R4's raised ride height and rugged construction gave it impressive ground clearance, making it suitable for uneven terrain. One of the R4's standout features was its front-wheel drive layout, which was still relatively uncommon at the time of its launch. This configuration improved traction and handling, especially on wet or unpaved roads, and contributed to the R4's reputation as a dependable car in all weather conditions. Renault designed the R4 with maintenance in mind. Its simple engine and drivetrain made repairs straightforward, and parts were inexpensive and widely available. This reliability and ease of maintenance endeared the car to drivers who needed dependable transportation on a tight budget. The Renault 4 was embraced by a diverse range of drivers, from families and farmers to students and young professionals. It became especially popular among the working class and budget-conscious buyers who appreciated its affordability and utility. The R4's practicality made it a common sight in both urban centers and rural areas, as it was versatile enough to adapt to different lifestyles. In many ways, the R4 embodied a democratic spirit, offering reliable mobility to people across social classes. Throughout its long production run, the Renault 4 saw various updates and adaptations to meet the changing needs of the market. By the 1970s, it had gained a reputation as an all-purpose car, with versions tailored to commercial use, family transport, and even off-road adventure. Special models like the R4 Plein Air, an open-top variant, appealed to outdoor enthusiasts, while the Fourgonette van version provided additional cargo space for small businesses. These variations allowed Renault to reach an even wider audience and solidify the R4's reputation as one of the most versatile cars on the road. Despite its strengths, the Renault 4 had some limitations. Its performance was modest, especially on highways where it could feel underpowered and slow compared to faster, more modern cars. The minimalistic interior, while durable, lacked the comfort and amenities of larger, more luxurious models. Yet these drawbacks did little to deter the R4's fans, who valued its affordability, reliability, and flexibility above all else. The Renault 4 eventually became a cultural icon, a symbol of French ingenuity and practicality. Its longevity in production, spanning over 8 million units sold by the time production ended in 1992, speaks to its remarkable appeal and adaptability.